So the World Performing Arts Capital was beginning with an idea. First, we had to work on the idea. What do we want to do? And it's important that the first proposal was to do a World Theater Capital. And then after discussion, we decided, no, the time is for World Performing Arts Capital. And then it was not that easy. The first step that I had to do, I had to convince the Executive Council of ITI if this is a good initiative. And after this was done, the second big step which we had to do is basically to submit it to UNESCO. So thanks to my team and also to Cecil Guidotte Alvarez, who did a lot of lobby work. We could submit it in 2013 to the General Conference of UNESCO, and then there came another problem. We had nobody, no country who proposed it, and finally the United Arab Emirates stepped in and said, okay, we are promoting this during the General Conference of UNESCO, and thanks to the UAE and thanks to Cecile, the resolution that we submitted was unanimously appreciated and approved by the General Conference of UNESCO. So here I go quickly through my presentation. It's basically based on especially for UNESCO, on the UNESCO Guangzhou Declaration of 2013 that urges government, civil society, and the private sector to harness the power of culture in addressing the world's most pressing development challenges such as environmental sustainability, poverty, and social inclusion. So then after it was accepted by the UNESCO General Assembly, there was a lot of other things that we had to do. Then we had no money, then we had no time, then we were moving to China. So it was a lot of things we continued to do in the General Secretariat. And we need to overcome many barriers. So thanks to the team I have in Shanghai, thanks to Chen Chongwen, who said, oh, this is a great idea, and thanks to the support of the Executive Council of ITI, who said, oh, let's do it, we continued to develop the project. And then we said to ourselves, okay, basically, even nowadays, it's very important that we have such a huge initiative called World Performing Arts Capital, a city who is stimulating the people in the city and international collaboration, so, and also the sustainable development for the city and its citizens. So we said to ourselves, okay, we have to start with something. So we did a conceptual approach, and we're talking about that we have to mobilize culture and mutual understanding to foster peace. We have to integrate performing arts in existing development policies. We need to have a cultural development open to all, and we need to promote environmental sustainability with the performing arts. So, so we had these 4 steps, which I just go through. So we want to create a sense of belonging and cultural pride among citizens. We want to educate locals and tourists in the local performing arts, but also we want that there is a platform for the people that are in there so that they can storytell, that they can participate in a city's cultural life. And it's also important that any city that would be a performing arts capital, that they really do something how to bring theater to the people. And we think theater to the people means everybody, the young, the disabled, the elderly, the children, the marginalized, and so on. So this is something which is very important for a performing arts capital to be a performing arts capital. And as said, economical, environmental sustainability is very important. So in scouting for cities who could do the first edition, we found out, okay, they should include in the time of 1 year while they are the performing arts capital worldwide, they should include what they are doing already and what they are doing well, but they should also really focus on new things like bringing the performing arts to the people, or then foster projects that people's participation in the performing arts. And we wanted all walks, the people of all walks of life have the opportunity to be educated in the professions of the performing arts. So with all these criteria and all these development that we did for the performing arts, we said, okay, should we have one city or should we have two cities? And at one point, all the people who were working with the General Secretariat, they said, let's have two cities, because when we have two cities, we can have, for instance, a mega city, but also a smaller city. Or we can have, let's say, a city who has a lot of money and has a city who has not much money. So in the future, and that was also one point in the Executive Council that was underlined, no, it should not be for the rich cities, it should be for any city in the world. But still, we needed to start, and we needed to start the sooner the better. So we formed an advisory council of members of UNESCO and ITI who should advise us to what is going on with the World Performing Arts Capital. And the first meeting was in October 2019, when there was no COVID, apparently. And this is the meeting. So there are the two cities which we were considering. They could be the first twin cities for the performing arts. And there are all the experts, including Ernesto Ottone, that when I met him first, he said, oh, the performing arts capital, this is a brilliant idea. I support it. So, as said, we decided that there will be a first pilot edition. And for different reasons, it was Shanghai and Wrocław that were selected. One of the biggest reasons for this was both cities had a huge enthusiasm for it and were ready to be the first twin city for the pilot edition. Just why Shanghai? Shanghai is a cultural bridge, a meeting point of East and West. It's a modern globalized megacity. It allures the allure of the richness of Chinese culture, both traditional, modern, perfect mixture of all Chinese styles and the more modern cutting edge and experimental practices. Sustainability, ITI based there, could personally vouch for the ready infrastructure and could assist Shanghai. The other city is a smaller city, and some of you may know it. It was 2016 the European Capital of Culture. It's Wrocław in Poland. It's a meeting place between Eastern and Western Europe and has cultural traditions which are unknown to the outside world. It's a university town, and it also hosts the prestigious Grotowski Institute, whose laboratory has reimagined the possibility of theater. So then the idea was, okay, let's announce the two cities in 2020, this year on World Theatre Day. So, some little virus made us to postpone it, so that the announcement of the city will be in 2021, and the first twin cities who will be the World Performing Arts Capitals will be the city for the whole year of 2022. So this is where we stand now. And both cities are very enthusiastic to be the first city, and they are a pilot, and the pilot means we still not know where it's going, how it's going. Is it something we need to keep on, or should we do another pilot city afterwards? it needs to be proven good for the performing arts. It should be of benefit of the artists of the two cities that are selected, and it should be an inspiration to other cities in the world, what they are doing there. So this is where we stand now, and that's all I had to say.